Around 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time, New York time, the nation's latest XY chromosome talked into his microphone and accepted winning the election to become the 45th President of the United States of America.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country. I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans. This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country. Being your candidate has been one of the greatest honors of my life. This is painful, and it will be for a long time. But I want you to remember this. Our campaign was never about one person or even one election. It was about the country we love and about building an America that's hopeful, inclusive, and big-hearted. We have seen that our nation is more deeply divided than we thought. But I still believe in America, and I always will. And if you do, then we must accept this result and then look to the future. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead.
Hillary's team told the world they would wait till the last votes were counted, then around half an hour later she made a phone call conceding presidency. Last night decided a Republican is president, the House is Republican majority, the Senate is also a Republican majority. This person in the White House is going to choose the next Supreme Court member, possibly multiple, and there are a lot of big issues in discussion to be amended. Roe v. Wade, various equal opportunity topics, healthcare. There's a lot this presidency has in front of it, and America has chosen its new president. The Electoral College is the system we use in this country. Both sides knew this going in. They strategized based on how they thought they would have the best chance to win presidency. It's a big board. There are dozens of key areas at stake. It would make sense to say that there are 50 key areas, which doesn't include the territories and non-states in American rule, places which have to live under largely American laws, but there just aren't 50 key areas. That's not how the board is set up. In terms of Electoral College results, very few people could have predicted how last night ended. Based on the numbers they were showing last night, the Republican candidate won handily. Certain projections of the election had Hillary winning by roughly the numbers that went in opposition. The popular vote was always going to be close. Approximately 100 million Americans voted this election. That's a solid third of the country. For a non-mandatory election on a weekday that's not a holiday where people are busy and the candidates are scary, based on previous elections in America, that's not a horrible turnout. Statistically, millennials are one of the worst demographics of voters, and women in general didn't vote at the numbers Hillary's campaign had projected. Although the Electoral College is skewed towards certain areas of the country. Talking swing states, though, this election had several at close margins. In cases like these, it does come down to people needing to voice their opinion in the form of casting a vote. That's how the system works. Looking at areas to which the election came down, the Republican candidate campaigned in a strategic way that got his board where he needed to have it for a chance of winning. And then some. The Democratic candidate hadn't visited Wisconsin since the primaries. She obviously traveled a lot campaigning in many areas of the large nation, but the electoral cycle is really long in America. If you have time to visit certain areas 20 plus times, you should be able to visit every state at least once before these huge elections. Because for Hillary Clinton, it may have been overconfidence in certain areas that became her downfall. Again, that doesn't take away from the Republican candidate and his strategy. They played the same game, they knew the rules, and the outcome was determined. I don't know the answer, but there's something to be said about the way things might have turned out if the Democratic candidate had won and this Trump character had argued against the system. No one knows what's going to happen in the next 4 years. Both candidates, as always, made a lot of talk in their campaigning, but how often is all this talk echoed in practice by the victor? As people have been saying, this is a heavily divided country. Look at the demographics of how people voted in this 2016 election. People are frustrated. Now everyone is going to have to live with these results for 4 years. But obviously there would have been issues whether it was the Republican or Democratic nominee who won. This may sound counterintuitive, but even though the power is in the majority Republican, that doesn't mean the House and Senate and executive branch are all going to agree on things. Not even close to all the things Trump said he would do will be done. He doesn't have that power. The same way all the things Clinton said she would do would necessarily have been accomplished if she had won. Both of these candidates presented ideas that projections said would raise our national debt, which is barely not out of control to the point foreign countries can have some level of trust in trading with us. What happens when too big to fail applies to the country itself. One last point, which is bigger than all of us, but that we all need to be conscious toward. One of the candidates had a proposal to work toward improving climate conditions. The other was elected president last night. Trump could work toward any number of things in his time in office. He's been quoted that he wants to be unpredictable. So there's hope that he could push for environmental infrastructure and all this talk of infrastructure, but you never really know with him. On that note, Clinton would have worked for big business and continued the issues with the pipelines invading, environmental racism, etc., etc. Anyway, we can all take a sigh of relief, try not to vomit while doing so, and just know that Donald Trump is now going to have to delay his television network.